The following message is brought to you by the Man of Vision.
Could we be witnessing the end of Six Flags St. Louis as we know it? Or is it the beginning of something new, something big, something great that's coming? Well, word on the street is that Six Flags is looking to potentially sell multiple amusement parks, or some of these parks would be rebranded, and that includes Six Flags St. Louis. And Six Flags have had a lot of major financial problems. The attendance at multiple Six Flags parks have been at an all-time low. Then in 2024, Six Flags merged with Cedar Fair, which was their longtime competitor. Cedar Fair owns the greatest amusement park in the world, Cedar Point, which is located in Sandusky, Ohio. And Six Flags is struggling. And what they're looking to do is cut back. And part of cutting back is cutting multiple parks across the United States. Some people are worried that Six Flags St. Louis might be on a chopping block. Some fear that they may get rebranded into something else. And the owner of the theme park is highly considering selling the park. Plus, the company filed for trademarks, and a trademark could be called Enchanted Parks St. Louis, which I think is a horrible name for an amusement park. They just need to just leave the name alone. Either these parks will be sold or they're going to get rebranded. But this is going to take years to happen. I don't see them doing this in months. Well, 2026, Six Flags St. Louis will be open to the general public. And it's kind of weird that this story have came out. I didn't think this would ever happen, but they got to do what they got to do to survive. And if they have to cut parks, they have to cut parks. I knew something was serious with Six Flags because Six Flags had the highest roller coaster, which was located in New Jersey. And this roller coaster was called Kingda Ka. And they got rid of it. And when they got rid of it, I'm like, they must be dealing with a lot of financial problems. And Six Flags is dealing with a lot of financial problems as we speak. But I hate to hear that Six Flags St. Louis could potentially be rebranded or sold off. And this is my personal opinion. I think Six Flags St. Louis has got to be one of the weakest amusement parks. And the reason I say that, we don't have giga coasters. We don't have hyper coasters. We do not have roller coasters that at least go above 200 feet. You go to other amusement parks like the Six Flags in Chicago, even the one that closed down in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, in that area, they had roller coasters that went over 200 feet. And when I look at Cedar Point, every amusement park should be just like Cedar Point. You want people to come to your park, you got to have rides that's just out of this world exciting. Cedar Point has that. Cedar Point has the Top Thrill Dragster, which is now known as Top Thrill 2. They got the Millennium Force, which is over 300 feet high, and that Top Thrill 2 is over 420 feet high, I believe. They have the Magnum XL, which is definitely over 200 feet. They have a large collection of roller coasters that's extremely high, and they get millions of visitors because they have larger than life roller coasters and thrill rides. The problem with Six Flags St. Louis, we never experienced that. They have carnival rides. They have rides that other amusement parks have for decades. And then when they add a ride, I'm like, well, this amusement park had this ride for years. Why is it that we got to have hand-me-downs when it comes to amusement park rides? Why can't we have something just unordinary, like a ride that's just so like scary looking? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the Mr. Freeze is cool, the boss is cool, but when you go to places like Cedar Point, man, you don't even want to go back to Six Flags. I remember when I went to Cedar Point like 3 years, I think, yeah, 3 or 4 years. I did not want to go back to Six Flags again. Even though I did it, when I went back to Six Flags, I'm like, these rides ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go to Cedar Point and you ride those high rides, and then you look at Six Flags look like Kitty Land. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Six Flags St. Louis is horrible, but they really need to improve their rides. To me, I don't think it need to be rebranded. I don't think it needs to be sold off. The problem is expansion. They have land out there where they can add to what they got. And every time they add a ride, it's mediocre. It's not overly exciting. It's rides that other amusement parks had for years, decades. And it's like, when can we ever get a giga coaster that's like 300 feet, a hyper coaster, and other thrill rides that we never had before? And I guarantee you, if Six Flags was to do that to St. Louis, add good rides that's just like 200, 300, 400 feet, 500 feet up in the air, that will increase attendance. It's all about what you put out there. If you put mediocre rides, of course, people are going to get tired of it. But if you put 400, 500 foot roller coasters and thrill rides out there, people are going to be lined up, riding that stuff, riding them rides over and over again. And I think that Six Flags dropped the ball focusing on certain amusement parks and not taking a page out of Cedar Point's book. Now Cedar Point and Six Flags, they one company now. They have a merging company, but Six Flags have always had like issues, well, recent issues with their attendance. And the reason why is because I think it's the fact that they not adding rides that's like worth riding over and over again. Because you gotta understand, you gotta keep those people interested. Cedar Point will get rid of a ride that's been there for years, and they will add a ride that's way better. They do it all the time. That's how they keep their attendance up, because they always adding something new. Six Flags don't do that. And see, that's why I believe they having problems. You know what I'm saying? But let's just see where it goes from here. Let's just see if Six Flags St. Louis gets sold off. Will they get rebranded to Enchanted Park St. Louis? That don't even sound right. Let's just see what happens. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.